Hello and welcome to Paddock Transfers Live. My name is Joe. That is Jay Motty. How are you doing, Jay?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Very good. We've got some transfers to talk about.
Good.
I
love nothing more than transfers.
Yeah, well, nothing stops moving at Manchester United. You know that. We've been
liquid.
linked with, I think, 4 new players today.
That is amazing.
That might be a world record. We've been linked with Cunha. We've been linked with Casemiro. We've been linked with Dembele.
Right. Okay. Which Dembele?
As many as you want. Moussa Dembele.
I was about to say. Is it
Casemiro? We'll come to that in a bit. That is mad. That you look at your face, you'd love him, wouldn't you?
I love him, but we may as well be linked with Mbappe because it's just not going to happen. But we'll get to it.
I don't want Mbappe anymore. He stops running after people don't pass to him. Okay, we'll start with Cunha then, because we talked about him a bit on the news. But let's get a bit more of a sort of deep dive into who exactly he is, what we could expect from Matheus Cunha if this was to materialise as a Ronaldo replacement and or supplement, okay?
Okay.
Tell me what you know about him.
Well, I know about as much as I guess some people know. Before last night or around last night, I did a little bit of a search and looked him up, and I know he's obviously at Atletico Madrid. I think his goal score record isn't great. He has scored goals. I think, is it around sort of 10 in all competitions is his sort of benchmark, shall we say?
Jay,
yeah.
We'd love if it was 10 in all competitions.
Has he not scored? Did he not score? Was it for Berlin? He got 11 or something. Was it? Am I just getting this completely wrong? 10, what's this there now? Was that years ago?
In the Swiss Super League when he played for Sion when he was 18.
Yeah.
He got 10 goals.
Right, okay, sorry. So, yeah, that is the most he's ever got in all competitions. So he's not prolific, but he's well known for bringing in players around him. And is it a stretch to say he could be like a sort of form of Martial in bringing in those around him?
I thought you were going to
helping others out.
Finally, this is the thing that's going to be said.
What?
I've got 2 words for you, Jay.
Go on.
Defensive striker.
Oh, we've gone full Scouse, haven't we?
Yeah.
Defensive striker.
Yeah.
So when he scores no goals in like the first 20 games, we're going to go, yeah, but he's a defensive striker.
Firmino.
Look at, if you look at his idea balls and how many, defensive interceptions he makes.
Jay, his smart passes per 90 is through the roof.
Like, whatever happens to strikers scoring goals? I mean, I don't mind him not being prolific, but he has to score some goals.
Here's the thing, Jay. Why score goals when you can have a striker making 2.14 tackles per game, which puts him in the 99th percentile for strikers making tackles?
So remember when we had Wayne Rooney and he used to do both? He used to score goals and tackle.
Yeah, but the good thing with this, Jay, is Wayne Rooney costs 30 million. This guy's only going to cost 50.
Oh, right.
So, why get someone that can score and defend for 30 when you can get someone that can maybe do one of those two things for more money?
Listen, I want to be clear because we might end up getting this kid. I'm not disparaging him or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hope if he does come to United, he's the player that we need. I'm just going to be honest with you. That when I looked at it, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I was a little bit like, really? Now, there are some positives because he would seem to fit the style of play that Ten Hag wants with pressing, with players, sort of the striker working with the wingers, if you can call them wingers. Do you know what I mean? More inverted wingers, aren't they? We saw it in pre-season with Martial, Sancho and Rashford all being on the same page, all linking up well together. We haven't seen it so far this season with Ronnie and those two, or with, when it was Eriksen as a false 9 or whatever. So this could make sense.
Yeah.
It's just this isn't a player, I'll be honest with you, where I was going, he's the one we need. No. A few weeks ago, I didn't see anyone, or forgive me if I'm wrong, someone may have mentioned him, but I didn't see many people, put it that way, saying Matheus Cunha from Atletico Madrid is the answer to United's problem.
No. Let's do a little bit of a sort of a dig into a bit of his past, what he's all about. So he's 23 years old, which again is promising in terms of a transfer. He could improve. You would hope he would improve. He's played 7 times for Brazil. He's played in Europe for his entire career, which is interesting for obviously a Brazilian player. You would assume that he might have come through in Brazil, but actually he moved to Sion as a teenager and then went to Germany and then went to Spain. So he's played all of his football in Europe. He went to RB Leipzig when Ralf Rangnick was there, interestingly enough. So he's very much of that mould of high pressing, high work rate player, and not necessarily a massive goal scorer. He was then sold by RB Leipzig because he wasn't really good enough. But the crucial thing with him is that sort of pressing and defensive work, which is, I know it's a bit shit, but his pressures, tackles, interceptions, and blocks are all in the 90th percentile or higher.
To be if I can
For a
play a
forward.
little bit of devil's advocate here.
To yourself.
You get players who early 20s, late teens look okay, don't necessarily look like world beaters. You know, Jamie Vardy was on a building site when he was in his early 20s.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone thought he was going to be one of the Premier League's most prolific strikers. You know, or that 15 years later, United had wanted him.
Yeah.
But this kid here, you know, there is a lot to his game to like, and obviously, you know, he fits a certain system. Eric Ten Hag, if he is interested in him, he's interested in him for a reason. Also, at 23, you can progress. Quite a lot, we just sort of throw players under the bus and go, oh, if they've not scored 20 goals by the age of 22, then they're rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, look at...
Well, didn't Nunes, I know Nunes is younger, but didn't he have like some average seasons and then he has a big season?
Look at Mo Salah. He was a sort of...
Yeah, that's a good example.
Relatively bang average player at Chelsea. He looked like a decent kind of European level winger at Roma, and then comes to Liverpool and has literally been... He's got some of the most impressive stats in Premier League history since he joined Liverpool.
So it can happen.
I'm
not saying this kid's going to put them numbers
picking out
up.
the minority of
you know,
the people here.
For me, if, for example, this kid comes into the side and Sancho sort of springs to life, Rashford springs to life, and this kid weighs him with some goals and Fernandes gets on the score sheet, and amongst the front four or whatever, you've got sort of 60 or 70 goals, then that's fine. What you don't want is a player who you can't rely on at all for goals, and then you're looking at it and you're going, you know, if Marcus doesn't score, Jadon Sancho doesn't score, we've got another player in the attack who's not scoring. That's my only concern. So it's slightly concerning that he's lack goals, but you know, if he's bringing something to the team, if it does fit the system that Eric Ten Hag wants to play, then I'll get behind him. I'll get behind any signing that the manager makes. It's just not one that I was looking at earlier thinking he's the man for United.
Yeah. One thing that is worth pointing out is that he was often a substitute for Atletico Madrid. They had Griezmann and Suarez ahead of him, even though a lot of Atletico fans seem to not really love Griezmann and Suarez last season, and people wanted him to play more minutes according to some of the pieces and bits I've read from Atletico fans. But one thing that is worth mentioning is, because he came on as a sub so often, his goals per minute and assists per minute are actually very high. So his non-penalty goals is in the top 25%, and his assist is in the top 7% per 90.
Okay.
But again, it's kind of skewed because you're coming on fresh when people are fatigued, so you're probably going to have a slightly inflated success rate when you extrapolate those minutes out to a full 90. If you're playing 20 minutes every game, you can kind of come on and be that, you know, fresh legs getting assists and goals. But I mean, it's worth pointing out that there's also the alternate argument that if you were that good, you wouldn't be coming off the bench every week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of, and you can sort of correct me if I'm wrong, was there any sort of politics involved in this? And
I'm sure there was.
Like, you know, you've got these big egos and these big names and big wages that sort of, if they're there, you are going to prefer them, or is it just that they're just better, even at the age that Suarez is at, he's just a better player than Cunha? Listen, we need bodies, we need players, especially need some attackers, because at the minute you've got a 37-year-old who doesn't want to be there. Yeah. You've got one player who's likely never to play for United again in Mason Greenwood. You've got another player in Marcus Rashford who pretty much can't really be trusted down the middle and hasn't really scored, I think, in about 16 starts or whatever it is. Yeah. You've got another one in Antony Elanga who's unproven. And then you've got Anthony Martial, who, whilst he had a very good pre-season, has had almost 2 seasons off in terms of what he's been doing. So we do need someone else in there. Is this kid the right answer? I'm not sure. But, I mean, I know it's a sorry state of affairs and a sad diamond where we're at. But at this point, I'd welcome anyone, especially a young striker who, you know, he looks like he's got something about him.
And one thing I will say about him, even though his goal-scoring record is bleak, like, I'm not like we can. I'm just giving the full picture, but let's be honest. Someone who averages 5 to 7 goals a season—that's shit. Just purely numbers.
Well, we use that as a criticism of Martial, don't we? Like, he got 5 goals.
That's not good enough
in the season. Marcus, I think, got similar numbers last season.
Yeah.
So you know, you can't suddenly go, well, they got 5 goals. That was terrible. He got 5 goals. That was amazing. Because that doesn't make any sense.
That's really poor. The one thing I will say is his play style, his pressure in, his work rate, his energy is undoubtedly better than Ronaldo's.
Okay.
Hopefully, like you said, we can use a player like him who will put the work in, who will press continuously, who will keep trying every single minute of the game. That can get the best out of the players around him. And with better service, he could maybe increase those goals and allow the players around him to score more as well. Because like we said, we scored more goals this season before Ronaldo than the season we had him. And no one in the team scored as many by themselves that Ronaldo did last year, but the team itself scored more.
Yeah.
So it's not about having a striker score all your goals. It's about having a team that can score. So who knows? He wouldn't be my first choice, I'll be honest, but there are some positives to that, I think.
He has to be, and I've said this before about so many players that we've been linked with. He has to be one of a few players that comes in.
Yeah.
If we get him and a couple of others, then you can say, okay, that's a decent end to the transfer window. If we bought him and no one else, I'd be like, this has just been a disastrous window. I'm sorry, it has. If you've got a kid who's coming off the bench in Atletico, a free transfer in Eriksen, a 12 million quid signing in Malacia, and Lisandro Martinez. No disrespect to any of those players. I like all those players, but that isn't the window we need.
They also bought him for 25 million euros 1 year ago.
So he's doubled his value.
Yeah.
Or is that just United tax?
I think it's United tax.
Okay.
But also the fact that he's now got 4 years left on his deal doesn't help United, does it?
Listen, we know we need a striker. I'd rather we get a young striker who's going to progress. He's certainly that. I'd rather get a striker that fits into the system that Erik ten Hag wants. He certainly seems that. A week ago we were linked with Marko Arnautovic, who was just a disastrous move for a multitude of reasons. This one makes more sense. It's not the most exciting transfer, I think. We can all be honest about it. I think we'd be lying if we say, this is it. 21 is coming off the back of this. But it could be the signing that we need.
Skyavol in the comment says, we don't need a striker. Jay?
Are we going to go with the old sort of 4-6 formation or whatever it is, where you don't have a striker, you just have a load of attacking midfielders who score goals? I think the problem is you need some form of person to lead the line. We've tried this. We tried it last season when Pogba playing as our most forward player.
Pogba and Bruno playing as in a 4-4-2 as our two strikers.
And then on the opening day you had Eriksen as a false 9, and it just doesn't work. You need someone who can bring in the likes of Marcus and the likes of Jadon Sancho or Elanga or whoever it is. You can need someone who's going to be the sort of the tip of the spear kind of thing. Yeah. And, playing midfielders in there, it doesn't work. No. Ayush MCFC, City fan in there, say, Jay, I was a big fan of the David Brent quote, re Cunha. Yeah, because I think a lot of us just sort of like Googling him, didn't they, last night? I'm not going to pretend that. You might have known a bit about him, but for your stats and all
to be honest, he's not really played enough games for you to know that much about him. No. Like a lot of his appearances last season for Atletico were off the bench.
I genuinely, right, and forgive me on this one, I genuinely couldn't even tell you who played against us when we played him.
I don't know either.
Like,
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't know. And it was, we went to those games. You went to the home one, I went to the away one, and we all watched him. He doesn't spring to mind. I can't remember him. No. So he might have done, or he might not. Get in the comments and let me know. Remind me.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was depressed at the time watching Manchester United go out of the Champions League to a bang average Madrid side.
He also got 7 assists last season, which is worth pointing out because that's more assists than goals. There's something to work with there, maybe. Again, I just want us to sign some players because I'm sick of having players that don't want to be there, and I'm not sick of seeing youngsters. I'm sick of seeing the desperation that means when one player is injured, our bench is full of players that not just don't have much experience, have never played for the club before.
I mean,
obviously United is fundamentally based on bringing through players from the academy. That's not what I'm talking about. Having no options with any experience isn't a good thing if you want to be a top team. You need players on the bench who've played games.
No, I agree. And, listen, we all love the youngsters. I love Charlie McNeil, Zidane Iqbal, Charlie Savage. Some of them, might feature a bit this season. Some of them, you think they're probably a season away. What you don't want to do is start throwing them in because we've not spent the money we should be spending. Yeah. Because we're forced to. Because we've run out of options. You saw it a little bit with Elanga. He was overplayed last year.
Yeah.
The kid was playing every game when he needed a break. Do you know what I mean? And his performances and his goals and his assists dried up because he was just being overused. But that was... just the stats come up there. Cunha didn't play the match versus United due to a knee injury. Right, okay, then that's why I'm not sure whether he played. He didn't. But yeah, I think we need to we need reinforcements because the squad is looking threadbare. You mentioned it ahead of the Brentford game when you looked at that bench. Attacking wise, you had Garnacho and Elanga.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah.
How many Premier League goals have they got between them?
3.
I mean, that isn't a bench the way you go. No. Don't worry if we're struggling. These guys, I'm not dissing those two. They're two good young players, but you need players on the bench where you can go, okay, this is going to change the game, or he's going to bring something, or he's got a bit of pedigree to him. Not just these are youngsters. You need a bit more than that.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on then to another apparent Manchester United target with doesn't seem quite strongly linked. Obviously, TalkSport and Romano confirming that we are after Cunha in the last 24 hours. Moussa Dembele is someone who's been mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
Dembele, quite a popular surname in the footballing world.
Do you know
it was more popular than Smith?
There was a Moussa Dembele. Was it Moussa Dembele who used to play for Spurs
Yeah.
years ago? I loved him.
He was great.
When he was at Fulham, he absolutely destroyed us, and I was gutted that he went to Spurs. This is the kid, from Leon.
Leon.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, was on loan at Atletico Madrid last season.
Right, okay.
Also didn't play against United. I think he only played 7 times from in all competitions, scoring 0 goals in the process. But this is according to the MEN. Man United consider Moussa Dembele move before transfer deadline day. We are considering a move for Leon forward Moussa Dembele in the final few weeks of the summer transfer window and remain in contact with the player's representatives. He got 22 goals and 36 appearances for Leon last season, but his place in the team has been thrown into doubt after former Arsenal forward Alexander Lacazette rejoined the club this summer.
Can we just stop that right there? You've lost me now. So his place in the team is under doubt, or is in doubt because Lacazette's back there.
Lacazette's world class, right?
So Lacazette is keeping, or could potentially keep him out of the team. That's why he's available.
Lacazette's world class.
Lacazette is a terrible footballer, and we're going to buy a player who can't get into with Leon's team because Lacazette's in his way. Why don't we just, you know what? Who was it who said the comment before? Why don't we just not have strikers? Because they're better than bloody rejects who can't even get in the team because Lacazette's keeping them out. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah, when Eddie Nketiah keeps Lacazette out of a squad, and then Lacazette keeps this guy out of a squad, Nketiah, Lacazette, Dembele, that worries me because the tip of that pyramid is fucking shite, let alone the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Like, Nketiah's bad. Do you know what I mean? He is a crap footballer. So, yeah, that. But then again, that math doesn't always necessarily work, does it? Because we know Lacazette, he was banging like 30 goals a season when he was in the Serie A league on the first time round. So maybe his style is just slightly more suited. I don't know. But yeah, it isn't particularly exciting, is it? The thing is, though, maybe if you got him for a massively cut price, he's maybe second in the pecking order. He's 26. He's been there for a while. If we could get him for cheap, at what point are we just filling our squad full of shit players?
Why is he available?
Better to have a bag full of shit than an empty bag
as well? 23, okay, I'll give you that. You've still got some, 26. You almost at your peak as a striker.
Yeah.
And if you're available because you went on loan to Madrid and did nothing. You've gone back to your club and Lacazette's arrived, who's bang average and he's keeping you out of the team, or he's struggling to get back in the team because of him. No, we've got to draw a line somewhere and go, he's not good enough.
Yeah.
We're buying players that I would expect, or we're being linked with players that I would genuinely expect someone like Fulham or Bournemouth.
He's been at Fulham. Moussa Dembele has actually been at Fulham and then Celtic and then Leon.
I remember Celtic,
he's a decent player. He is a decent player, but I just worry.
It's a heavy shirt, United, as well. You can't just be buying Dross and expecting him to step up.
No.
If he's not up to it at Leon, I don't think he's going to come to Old Trafford in front of 76,000 fans and turn into Dennis Law 2.0.
76,000 fans and millions of people around the world who are more than happy to criticise.
I hate criticising or questioning players before they've even arrived. Because then when they arrive, you got to get behind them. And I will always get behind anyone that puts on the shirt of Manchester United. But in my honest opinion, this isn't the answer.
No. Tough, innit?
I might be wrong. People can disagree in the comments or whatever. But this isn't a signing that I can really warm to. I just feel like this is just... When I said we need players, this just feels like just get, like you said, get anyone. Mm. You know what I mean?
Statistically, he's quite impressive. But
go on. Try and win me over.
Right, I'm gonna hit you with some numbers here.
Go on.
0.61 goals per 90. Which means more than a goal every other game, which is good.
That's good.
1.26 blocks per game.
Blocks. All right, meant.
Okay.
That's something. I want you to go out there, son. Listen. Get stripped. You're going on. Go on. Right.
What do you want me to do, boss? Get a goal?
No.
Well, we're 3-0 down. We need goals.
No. Forget that. It's damage limitation now. It's only the first half. Go out there. Get some blocks in. Yeah. Boss. I want you to block like your life depends on it.
Boss,
yeah.
I'm fucking very good at blocking.
Are you any good at blocking?
Yeah. I get 1.26 per game, which puts me in the top 9%.
Right. Okay. Go on. Cunha, you coming off, son. Go on, Dembele. It's your time to shine.
You know he's pretty good at blocking as well.
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
that case, leave him on.
Oh no! Let me play, boss. Yeah, he's one of the. Oh, he's just average, isn't he? He's a
Let's look at
fine
his career
player.
trajectory. Right, go to his career. Let's look how he's got on. Talk me through. Right, yeah. What we got?
Fulham.
Right, Fulham. Nothing wrong with
Fulham
starting
in the
at Fulham,
Championship.
Right, Fulham in the Championship. Right. Sorry, I was going to nick this for a sec.
The guy was bagtastic at.
Right. So he's only a kid there. Let's not forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what is he now? He's 26 now.
So he's 19, 20.
So he's 90s. So this was what 8 years ago. So he was 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
So didn't do anything in the Premier League. 2 appearances, no goals. Fair enough. Championship, 11 appearances, no goals. Then he has a decent season. 43 appearances in the Championship, 15 goals. Goes to the Scottish Prem. 29 appearances, 17 goals. 25 appearances, 9 goals. And then goes to Lyon. Has one more game in the Premier League. 15 appearances, 15 goals in 33 appearances, good. 16 goals in 27 appearances, very good. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, okay, yeah, you look at it, go 1 in 16, not great, but then last season, 21 in 30, again, decent numbers. So he's got 137 career goals, which is decent. But there's warning signs there, isn't there? You know, went to Atletico, did nothing.
And that was the season before last. I'll just correct
season
my
before,
point there, not
before last,
season,
sorry.
yeah.
And had that one season in particular didn't look too great for him because he didn't really score.
Very much a Martial season, that one.
Yeah.
16
Well, he has
goals,
had
1
some.
assist.
He has had
16
some.
goals.
I mean, in his career, he's
Games.
had 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons where in all comps he scored 20 plus goals.
Yeah.
So that's not terrible.
That's the kind of, I think 10 is minimum for a striker.
Yeah.
20 is good season for a striker.
Yeah.
30 is great season. You know, that's
Yeah.
a top season, and then obviously anything above that is just.
I just feel like
top in the best of the world.
when
category,
you know, if you're looking at it and you're going, Leon have gone right, Lacazette is the man for us. That worries me a little bit, and also the fact that at 26 years old, he's available and no one's really he's not really going anywhere.
No.
It's just like why is no one coming in for him, especially with the goals coming back. It's not terrible.
No, it's pretty
Decent,
good.
that 20 odd goals in a league campaign.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
No doubt. It might be a Ligaro situation where if we get him, you just get behind him.
I think his pedigree is much more than Nigalo's.
No,
as well.
I mean, like
But
Nigalo,
just like,
no one
yeah.
really wanted him, did they?
No.
I didn't hear anyone saying, let's get Odi Nigalo. But when he got here, people were getting behind him because, you have to, don't you?
Yeah. Let's move on then. Talk about Antony. Mike Verwij, the elusive Dutch expert. We don't really see him anywhere, but you just hear about from him all the time.
If you do see him, can you tell him to come on this channel? We're trying to get him on the Tier 1 podcast.
We've been trying for about 6 months.
Yeah.
He says, I believe Antony is no longer an option for Manchester United, and that Antony himself would think twice before deciding to join United now, especially when you see with how much joy he plays at Ajax. Man United Antony story seems to be over. Watch that Brighton game and the Brentford games back. There's joy on that pitch. Not necessarily in United kits, but there's certainly joy in those matches. Okay?
Aye.
And the rest of the footballing world, like let's say he's not a United fan, he'll love it. Because everyone who's not United fans fucking loving watching us at the minute. So don't act like there's no joy to be had around Manchester United's situation right now. There's plenty of joy, just not for United fans or players.
Yeah.
So is he a bit of a mercenary turncoat bastard?
I just think as soon as they started spouting off 70 million quid, that was the end of that.
Mental, that wasn't it?
That was just not going to happen.
No.
Because a few months ago, it was like, you can get him for 30 million. You think, all right, it's a bargain, that. Decent players, had 2 good seasons. 70 million, not happening. Even if you met him halfway, I still think it's probably, more than we're willing to pay.
You'd have to be absolutely mental to spend 80 million quid on an attacker that's had 1 good season in their career in a substandard league. If you did that, they'd probably get sent off against Crystal Palace for headbutting.
Nice.
United aren't that stupid, are they? Let's move on to Ronaldo then. Updates this morning. Ronaldo's situation. Mendes working hard to find a solution, according to Romano. Potential last-minute transfer, as we saw 1 year ago. Ronaldo's priority has always been to leave Man United this summer. United insist he's not for sale, and George Mendes keeps exploring options. Simon Stone saying he might be for sale. Jamie Jackson saying the word on the street is that United remains a first-class trainer, and his attitude to the on-the-field stuff there is impressive. I love that. The attitude to the on-the-field stuff, like being a Man United player, that's pretty on-the-field, I would say. His attitude to that hasn't been particularly impressive, if you ask me. Do you think we've got to get rid of Ronaldo now, Jay?
I'm just...
You texting Ronaldo?
No, it's funny you mentioned Jamie Jackson. He just messaged me about something else.
Oh, sorry.
So I just thought I'd
Was it
throw
about
in-
this video?
I've just thought I'd throw something in there. Yeah, I mean, it's the end game, isn't it now?
Yeah.
It is. Like, I feel tonight because he's come in and he's tried to be. We were speaking to Henry Winter earlier, and the video's going to be up later, and he said one of the slight criticism you have of Eric Ten Hag so far is he's maybe not been as decisive enough about certain things as he could have been. He could have come in and been like, right, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, in terms of like Ronaldo and the captaincy. But I thought he was. I felt like in ways he was. I thought like he's come in and he's gone, right, the captaincy, Maguire's staying captain. Ronaldo, he's not going anywhere.
I think he's been pretty decisive.
Yeah, I think he's just maybe made decisions that are now being, you know, scrutinised because they've not panned out. I know it's early days with Maguire and the captaincy for under Eric Ten Hag anyway, but the Ronaldo thing's not looking great. And then obviously, you know, we've just got other issues. It's like the goalkeeping one is another one. But again, how much of that was taken out of his hands. So it does seem a little bit like, you know, this with Ronaldo, it's not going to end well. He's got to go. What we need to do, if he is going, is get him out soon and get someone else in. And I think if Ronaldo leaves, you need at least 2 strikers to come in. Yeah, you can't go. Ronaldo goes out. You bring in Cunha, so your only strikers are Cunha and Martial.
Yeah,
so you've got what, 10, 15 goals between them in the last 2 years, or something like that.
It's not great, that is it?
No, or in the last year, I should say. That is a slightly concerning, to say the least. And especially if one of them gets injured, then you're down to just one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we need to start making things happen quickly.
We're going to talk about Casemiro in a second, which I can't wait to talk about, these links to Casemiro. But before that, just a quick point on... someone mentioned it in the comments here, about it wasn't... Maguire being the captain wasn't the reason De Gea spilled the ball through his arms and that Martinez is too short. This whole Martinez is too short thing, how many times has he been exposed to being too short? Maybe once for the goal, or maybe not because actually he slipped over and that was the problem.
It doesn't matter if you're 7 foot. If you fall over, you fall over. Yeah. He didn't fall over because he's short.
He did.
You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to grab hold of something and he couldn't quite reach it because he's too short.
Branch.
So he fell over. He slipped. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's irrelevant. And also, I think there's Pundit Jay, my boy, who I retweeted earlier. He did a thing where he was looking at it all, and he's like targeting him. They didn't target him. When they did target him, it didn't work. No. He was dealing with things. We've seen him play against likes of Erling Haaland and boss the game. So this whole his height is the issue. I'm just not buying into it.
Certainly hasn't been so far, has it?
No.
I don't understand it. Like you said, they put the ball over to that side a few times, which you would expect them to put it over to both sides, and they did. Brentford, but he didn't get beaten in the air at all. Like, I really don't understand that. It felt from Carragher yesterday. I think he's the one that's kind of reignited this talk about him being too small and that we're already seeing him exposed for it. I just don't think that's true.
It's just, you know what?
Also, Jamie Carragher's only 2 inches taller than him, isn't he?
It's a lazy sort of comment. I think, to be fair, Jamie Carragher, and I don't like being fair to Scousers, but why not? Everyone can have an off day.
Jamie Carragher's 5'11". You're only 2 inches taller than him.
It's this whole thing of, he's 5'9", that's been an issue, let's jump on it, because it's going to generate clicks and debates and views. Yeah. And everyone who don't like United will jump on it and go, you've bought this short player who's rubbish and he gets targeted in the air and Ben Mee scored against him because he stood in a hole.
Yeah. Well,
and then,
bend me over.
Yeah, nice.
You know what I
mean? And it does what it's meant to do for Sky, which is get everyone talking. And then you'll get people actually bothered to watch the game and analyse it and look at what happened and go, actually, that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think his height is the issue. I don't think that is why we conceded 4 goals against Brentford.
No, me neither. Should we talk about Casemiro? Jose Felix Diaz of Marca publication, based around Spain,
right,
has said the following: Man United are thinking of Casemiro. Yes, the Casemiro. Yeah. Real Madrid legend, Champions League maestro, linchpin in the most successful European team in the history of football, as a possible reinforcement at Manchester United. In fact, emissaries of United are in Madrid with different routes open.
Emissaries? What is this? What
is this, the Spanish Inquisition?
Yeah, send an emissary to Italy and see if the king will join us in our voyage.
See if they can't get our ravens back.
Yeah,
for the moment, Real have not received any proposal. Casemiro, Jay.
Right,
come on.
That's not going to happen, is it? Like, let's be honest. Yeah, that's like me. I'm what is it? A thinking of Casemiro. I'm thinking of going to hairdressers.
I bet you don't like him because he only got 1 goal last season.
Yeah, that's it. You call yourself a striker?
Yeah.
1 goal. Hey, I come from the Lou Macari school of thought.
If you haven't scored, you're shit.
How many goals do you get? Rubbish.
So Casemiro then?
I'd love him at United, but he isn't going to come. So why don't we get? I tell you what. Why don't we get Casemiro? Why don't we get De Bruyne? Why don't you throw in? I tell you what. We'll have Salah as well.
Yeah. Alisson's pretty good.
Alisson, we'll get him in goal.
Yeah.
And you know,
Heung-min Son.
Heung-min Son, and maybe we can, I don't know, go and get Mason Mount as well as a backup option for our midfield. What are you on about? It's just not happening, is it?
Well, don't shoot the messenger, Jay.
I know it's
Jose
not you.
Felix Diaz is the one that's come up with this.
Do you know what? It's like, do you ever watch that Sunderland Till I Die documentary?
Yeah.
And they had a piece of paper with a list of players on.
Yeah.
And one of them goes, the list of strikers, and one of them goes, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is on this list.
No.
You ever seen it?
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Like, they had a list of potential strikers for Sunderland who were in the 3rd tier of English football at the time. And on this list of strikers, they put, like, Zlatan was on there. Isn't it funny that and one of them's flagged it up, like, and he's flagged it up as in to say, what is this shit? He's gone, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is on this list. That's what that's like. United going, tell you what, Casemiro's good. You should get him. Oh, yeah, I don't like him. No. He's not going to come. They're not going to sell him to us. That's the end of that. Right. It's just not happening.
Jay, I'm going to give you one last chance
to
say this deal is on.
Yeah.
Casemiro to Man United, here we go.
Right. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you 2 things that will happen if Casemiro comes. If Casemiro comes, we will win title number 21 and the Champions League this season. Right?
Deal? Promise?
Deal.
Thanks, Jay. Okay, great. That's going to be all from us. Thank you, Jay, for coming on. Transfers live. Casemiro, no. Dembele, no. Cunha?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, go on then. We'll have a bit of that.
Hang on a minute. We've got... right, Jonas, thanks, Baggers, just 7 minutes. Jonas, who we interviewed over in Oslo, he runs the La Liga podcast over there, which is, I think it's in Norwegian, so if you don't speak Norwegian, you're probably not going to get the benefits of it. But here's what he's saying. Why are you looking all smug?
Not looking smug, mate.
He said, one of the absolute most credible journalists on Real Madrid, J. Felix Diaz, reporting that Man United are considering making an approach for Casemiro. This is also due to the complexity of bringing in Frenkie de Jong. United have representatives in Madrid, right? Considering making an approach, yeah? They might be considering making an approach. We ain't going to get him. Yeah, we're not. I don't know why you're looking at someone. We're not getting him. It's not going to happen. Bro, last week we were going to get Marco Arnautovic, right? Literally, that was who I'd say. Then it was Adrian Rabiot, and now it's Casemiro. Okay.
That's the very fellow Jay.
Yeah.
4 times Champions League winner is not good enough for Jay, apparently.
Yeah, that's my issue.
One of the best defensive midfielders in the world. Doesn't really tick all the boxes for Jay Motty. Interesting.
He could come and do a job for us in goal.
Yeah.
He could.
Let's be honest, it's not fucking happening. We can consider it all we want. We go to Real Madrid and go, guys, we've considered... No. Cheers. Anyway, do you know where the Atletico offices are? Fuck off. We'll find them anyway. Cheers, fellas. Thank you. Can I have an autograph? Door. Bang. Yeah, we ain't getting Casemiro. I'd love it, though. Imagine we did. Well, people said we won't get Varane. And look how that turned out. That's going to be all from us. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit the notification bell so every time we go live, which we do all the time, you will see it first. Hit that bell. Jay's going to text Jose Felix Diaz right now. Get to the bottom of this Casemiro business. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in a bit.